guys, Leah Michelle, Resistance Chicks, coming at you March 29th, 2017. There has been a shooting that was thwarted thanks to good parenting. Or, I don't know if you can call it good
I actually
parenting.
wouldn't call it good parenting
You're right,
at all. I think that
I'm with you.
One of this teen's parents definitely did the right thing by turning their child and their daughter in, actually, for planning a mass shooting. But this is a wider issue that's happening because since Columbine, there's been a lot of school shootings. There's been a lot of thwarting of school shootings. There's been a lot of talk about shootings. And this particular young girl was caught this week. An 18-year-old student meticulously planned a mass shooting at her high school in which she intended to die, the authorities said on Monday in Maryland. A shotgun, ammunition, and bomb-making materials, including nails and fireworks, were found at Nicole Chevaro's home in THURMONT on Thursday. Frederick County Sheriff Charles Jenkins said at a news conference there is no evidence that anybody else was involved. One of the teen's parents notified
Catoctin
High School officials Thursday of a potential threat of violence. And Chevaro was removed from the classroom and turned over to investigators. The Frederick County Sheriff said in a statement, Chevaro was later taken from the school to a hospital for an emergency evaluation and remains hospitalized. They said that this attack was prevented by parents who stepped forward. Her journal clearly spelled out detailed plans for an attack she had been working on for some time, including a timeline of the attack and her expectations for each stage. It was set for April 5th. As the attack day, she was acquiring materials and compiling details about the school's emergency procedures associated with drills conducted by school staff and on the school resource deputy. Her diary showed evidence of mental health issues. There's no indication of bullying, and while explosive materials were located during the investigation, they weren't combined in any form to create an explosive device. Now, when I Googled this, I found that two other girls last year had planned a school shooting and a real big pact, and their names were just released this January, and the details of their planned attack and their subsequent artwork, which you can imagine, and I will bring some up for you. This is teens plotted mass shooting at Mountain Vista High School, and then the subsequent suicide. Now, you can look at the situation and you say, oh my gosh, what a crazy kid. Okay, first of all, children. What is going on inside of these teens' minds? And then, as I also Googled this particular thing to see more details about it, I came up with two boys were arrested after planning a mass shooting in a Florida middle school, 13 and 14 years old.
Wow.
And this was just recently, this was January 27th this year. So two thwarted attacks within just the first 3 months of this year.
Yeah.
What is going on inside their minds? And what other kids are thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's a pattern here.
Yeah.
And the girls at the Mountain Vista High School, they went to the Columbine, and the Columbine shooters were their heroes.
Wow.
And they read the writings of the journals of the Columbine here, and
they were sick and demented.
You see this pain, and if you didn't see Matt's rock and roll blog, in there's the Columbine shooters listened to several bands, but
They
one
were
of
German.
them is this really crazy one where it literally, the songs are so death-like. And they talk about going in, I'm going to shoot up my school, I'm going to shoot up, get my shotgun and blow their head off. I mean, that's the songs. So we have to recognize that what goes in our minds, some people would say, oh, it's just a song. Oh, it's just a movie. Oh, and I know a lot of people like to say, oh, violence in video games doesn't make people violent. What goes in eventually will come out, and what goes into your spirit, right?
Exactly.
So I can watch things and it's not going to affect me, it's not going into my spirit, but songs and music, writings, art, it can take a turn
Right.
and get into your spirit, and then you become that, and you begin to think in that. And the Bible says, "What as a man thinks in his heart, so is he." And you know what? When you hear a happy-go-lucky song, what does it do? It makes you happy.
Right.
I'm so happy. Da, 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 da.
We don't even know
People
the
aren't
words to it.
probably going to go around and shoot people when they hear that song.
Probably not.
But when you hear songs like "Death and life is awful and I'm going to shoot everyone," that actually does have an effect. They actually did this for my atheist friends. They actually have done scientific research, and they blasted heavy metal at plants, and the plants actually
And
withered
negative
up
music.
and died. And they actually played
Like symphony, happy music or something.
classical music,
Classical music.
and the plants thrived. And actually, there's actually been a scientific studies where they have said happy words and life-giving words to plants.
Right.
And death words, and it actually has an effect on the plants. Come on, you guys, we have to, the whole Avatar. We did an episode, our video where the Avatar is actually kind of real, where everything is kind of electromagnetically connected in the roots and everything like that, the trees and things like that underground.
Right.
Your words have an effect on people, and again, the Bible says this. Life and death
Are in the power,
of the tongue. And you can speak life and health to someone, or you can speak death to someone. Now, sticks and stones may break my bones. Obviously, you can put up a wall. But I guarantee you that if somebody comes up and meets you, a stranger, and says, "Hey, how you doing? You having a good day today? Oh, I really appreciated what you had to say here.
Mm-hmm.
You're really smart. You're really intelligent." That lifts you up.
Right.
But if somebody comes up and says, "You're dumb, you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about," it hurts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you have to
And
put
you know
up
what?
a wall.
I would take it a step further and say that negative words have a much, unfortunately, lasting and deep impact.
Than the positive words.
Yeah, I will tell you guys, like, we can read 5 amazing comments, and then you read like one really negative. If it's negative to the subject, that's fine. But if it's negative towards like you personally, you're like, ouch. You know what I mean?
Kinda like,
and so it's just kind of like so you really have to work hard to dismiss that and to focus on the
it's
positive.
easy to tear things down.
It's harder to build them up.
It's harder to build them up. It takes a lot more
Right.
intelligence. But I kind of wanted to give you a bird's eye look into these girls who had this pact. One's name was, and her last name was Higgins, Brooke Higgins. She pleaded guilty in the case last month for the first time, provides details into the alleged plot concocted by the then 16-year-old Higgins and Sienna Johnson. Johnson's name appears to be redacted. Brooke Higgins wrote that she wished she had done Columbine with Eric and Dylan. They were incredibly smart, and everything in Eric's journal made sense to her. She's a crazy person, right? Brooke Higgins wrote she had very similar thoughts to Eric and wanted to be in charge to destroy and be impossible to kill, even though she was going to commit suicide along with this person. They made reference to the movie's natural born killers and obsession to the Columbine gunmen in their journal. I wanted to, if I
I'm
can
hoping
find
that
it.
these young people are getting help.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, because this is just my heart breaks for these type of kids.
This is what I wanted to bring up.
That
She actually
oh, that's awful.
I know. This is a drawing. This was her drawings, and she had a Facebook page, and she had artwork, and
there's a guy with a gun to his head.
It was weird, and the article says macabre. She was obsessed with wombs. She was born 3 months early, and so somehow she's obsessed with babies, and she has this thing that says, God hates you, your parents are scared of you. Some of these things, some of the poems that she writes, she says, I can't explain how I feel, I just know it isn't good. Like wallpaper, picked
with a brain and a heart.
And so I know a lot of people say, you know what, this kind of artwork, there's no big deal, it's just art.
No.
But it shows that there is something wrong. When it's okay to say there's something mental with that person. When they have poems about wanting to die And in her journal, she talks about abortion, aborting my brain.
The fact that she put this out there on the internet as a blog, she was crying out for help.
Right.
Because most people don't put this out there quite so blatantly,
Right.
pushing the envelope to see, does anybody care? And that's a lot of these kids' mindsets. Like, I have to do the most insane thing to just see if anybody cares. Is anybody taking me seriously?
So, obviously, as Christians, I've seen a lot of kids with this kind of mindset. And I have seen how a way out for them is love. And telling them that they have a purpose, and telling them that God loves them, and telling them that Jesus Christ loves them, and seeing them come out of a death-like mindset. There is hope.
Yeah.
I have to bring around Jesus to this one. If you don't want to listen, you can just stop it here. But the answer to these children, is Jesus. And what's interesting is that in the Columbine shooting, the kids were actually, they went and they were killing Christians. They were, who's the Christian in this? They said that there might have been some bullying there, and Christian kids can be a little bit forceful. You're going to go to hell if you don't know Jesus. And but the death in these kids' mindset mixed with that, it was, it was just not a good combination. And I grew up in a single parent home, and I remember hanging out with these kind of kids. And there's just, I know the music that they listened to. I know the language that they spoke. I know the death and depression in their minds.
Right.
And one of them, it was a young boy, a year younger than me. He was a boyfriend of one of my kind of acquaintances. He hung himself. He killed himself. And he didn't seem like that kind of kid. He seemed kind of happy, kind of a chipper, cheerful kid.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Billy. And there's just a death there in our culture and in our society. There's not like a lot of reason to live. I go to a grocery store, and I hear the words that parents say to their children. And I think to myself, not you're a bad parent, not there's something wrong with you, but my heart says, do you know that you're speaking death to your child?
I hear this a lot, and since we have this platform and I can say this without calling anybody out specifically, I'm kind of glad that you brought this up, because we've all experienced this.
It makes me want to cry. I get really sad.
And I'm not calling out you parents as bad parents. You're not. You're actually really good parents, but it's unfortunate that a lot of times parents talk to their children as if they're dogs or something like that, and I hear this one a lot, like, stop that, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And I know that parent is not a mean, evil, nasty person, and I'm not trying to judge parents because I'm not a parent, okay? But I try...
I've been a kid.
What?
I've been a kid.
Yeah, but I have been a child, and my mother never, ever, ever, ever spoke to us that way. My mom always treated us with the utmost respect, and in hindsight, years later, Leah and I would see other parents parenting, and we're like, Mom, why did you never, she never raised her voice unless it was actually...
Because I said so.
She never said, just do it because I said so.
She would explain to us, hey, Mom,
she
why
would
are we
stop
doing
and
this?
take a minute. She was a very hands-on parent, which is
and
amazing.
You never got in trouble for doing something that you didn't know was wrong.
Right. Exactly. If we spilt something, it was always, it's fine. Let's clean it up together. You have to take responsibility because you spilt it. But
so encouraging and so loving.
Yeah.
And
it's
our
amazing.
dad was the opposite.
Exactly.
So we had this dynamic going on where our dad was the complete opposite.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they obviously had to get divorced. And so we would live in this environment of fear, and then we go home to love.
My request would be this, for those of you that are parents, and again, know that I mean this in love, and I know that it's not easy because you're frustrated, and it's, try to remember when you're talking to that child that you're raising a human being,
and how you want them to treat other people. And
would you want another adult or another human being to say something to you in that manner? Right. And a lot of times we treat kids the way, as if we think that they should already know to do that. Like, so I can say to Leah, and I do, and I got to work on it, what's wrong with you? Why did you do that? I try to treat her better than that, but every once in a while I'll say that exact same sentence to Leah. The difference is, and I'm not defending myself here, but the difference is I know that she knows better in a situation, or she could say the same thing to me, except she doesn't because she's much nicer. But my point is, a child doesn't know better. So you can't treat them, you know what I'm saying? You can't treat them with that whole attitude of, stop it, put that down, or stop it, stop doing that, you know, because they know better, because they're a kid, you know? So if you put in love, you will get back love. And I'm not calling out these parents, but obviously these children didn't get
we're
love.
not talking about the no spanking, no discipline.
No, we got spanked.
We were disciplined.
We were disciplined.
But in a very respectful manner.
Right.
Like, she never treated us like we were less than her or less human or something. Like, I'm the boss of you.
Right.
You know, we're in this together. We're a team.
Right.
And I'm your mom and I love you and this is why you need to do A, B, and C and D. And,
right.
And you know, there's a distance when you don't spend, I mean, one of my biggest beefs with public schools is that it creates a distance. Now, not with all parents and not with all kids, but with a lot of them, it's like, this is my object. This is my child, my thing. And I take my child, my dog, and I take him to puppy class, and I take my dog to this, and I take my dog and my child, and I do my child, rather than, this is my family. This is my blood. We're a group. We're a
one.
team.
We're a team. Yeah, like a unit.
Right.
Right.
And that's what you get when these kids don't feel part of a team, right? Because here's what I guess what I'm wrapping it all up with is the fact that if you don't know that your kid is having these kind of mental issues way before, or like when they start happening, there's a break there, and public school does that.
Exactly.
Public school says, I drop my kids off, my kids will be fine for 8 hours, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. No,
they're not.
They
fine.
might not be. Not everybody's going to be coming to a mass murder, but they might not be fine. And I know lots of kids who never talk to their parents. They saw them maybe for a couple minutes, especially when you're teenagers. You never see your parents. Ever. And that's how these things happen, because there's no family units anymore. Oh, we go on vacations, or we do this, or we do that, or we go out to eat. We do that, we go out to eat. I love my kids.
Right. Or I asked them how their day was when they got home.
Right.
You know,
but
I
they
asked
don't
them.
really know their kids. So for those parents who
we applaud
are
you.
involved with your children, and you know whether something's, are you off today? Are you thinking about doing a Columbine? Wait, why do you have a gun? What are you doing with them firecrackers? You know, no one had to think about somebody stocking up fireworks and they're going to go blow the school up.
I was a little bit of a challenge growing up compared to Leah. That being said, compared to many children, I was a saint. And even as in my sainthood, when my mom wasn't around because of public school, I would find ways that I could do things without her knowing. And I did push the envelope, and I did want to keep things secret, and I did want to keep things from her. But then during the years when I was homeschooled, it wasn't like that, because I felt a part of that family unit.
Homeschooling was so much better. It made us just real humans again.
Yeah.
It just made us human again. Right. I can't explain it to you other than that. We're human. Our humanity was restored.
Yeah.
Those years that we were homeschooled, whereas there was just such a break. It's very unnatural, I believe, to go somewhere for 8 hours a day, and then after that we had sports, and after that, I mean, and to be regimented, where you have to do it every single day.
Yeah.
And you're this is what we do every day, and then like John Taylor Gatto, it's insanity to hand your child over to strangers for 8 hours a day. You know, 3/4 of the year.
But I met the teacher.
Who did most? I mean, we could. One of the things that I haven't done, and I don't know if it's going to stay with me, is bring up the long list of teachers convicted of molesting students.
Oh my gosh!
Almost every single day or every other day, there's like another article somewhere on a teacher having an inappropriate relationship. I
ran into a girl that I went into that I was in youth group with, and this goes back, I'm like 13, 14 years old, and I ran into her in the grocery store about a year or so ago, and I was so excited to see her. I had searched for her on Facebook. I couldn't find her anywhere, and in our conversation, she tells me that she went to a local Christian school, and her parents put her there, I'm assuming, to give her better education, because she had been in the public school. And she was molested by the gym teacher here locally. And my heart just broke for her, because her mind had broken. She literally couldn't for, I want to say 5 or 6 years, she couldn't even remember that it had happened. And that's what happens when a lot of
Post-traumatic
times people
stress
are
disorder.
abused and then they can't remember. And then she, and then all of a sudden these memories come back and then you're like, whoa. And so the public school system, the private school system, there is no good answer outside of mom and dad. So Lee and I we push that agenda over and over and over again. I know a lot
But if they are in the public school,
then you got to be
just be extra
vigilant.
involved. Be involved. Talk to your kids. Pray with your kids. Teach your kids. I mean, you have to be vigilant. I mean, our neighbors are pretty good about that. They have 2 kids, and they're really involved as a family unit, So.
Yeah. All right, you guys, this is Lee and Michelle signing off for Resistance Chicks, where it's not a conspiracy theory.
Ooh,
if it's
this
the truth.
was hard.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell for notifications, and find us on Facebook and Twitter. We love you guys. God bless.
I was cold all alone, no place for home every day, so afraid, but you called my name.